Heavy words as we expect from Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, as we expect from Srila Prabhupada, as we expect from all the gurus. Guru means heavy. The great acharyas, of whom Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur are certain. Hare Krishna. Is there any need to do? Was it all right before? No. Tell him. Hare Krishna. जैसे है वैसे चलेगा, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है. हरे कृष्ण. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so these are the great acharyas who, by their very lives, show us what it means to be Krishna conscious, and who, in all ways, in everything they do, teach us to come to that platform. Guru means teacher. Just 3 days ago, I heard for the first time, grace of Keshavanand Prabhu, that Sri Madhvacharya had identified the main, or the definitive characteristic of a Brahmana as being one who teaches. Certainly he also studies, certainly also performs puja, certainly keeps himself clean and pure, but the core characteristic is one who teaches. So the acharyas are those who teach about Krishna consciousness by being Krishna conscious. They show others, even when they're not specifically teaching or thinking of teaching, just everything they do, we can see, we can observe as best we can from our limited platform how they live, what they do, how they act, how they react to various circumstances. So this ceremony is called Vyasapuja Mahotsav, festival of worship of Vyas. Vyas literally means he who divides. That name signifies that he has divided the Vedas, not in the sense of making them separate, but ordering them, putting them in editing, to make the knowledge of the Vedas accessible to people in Kali Yuga. So anyone who speaks the same message is considered a representative of Vyas, or sometimes just simply called Vyas, because they represent him. So this festival, you're coming here because you are kindly attached to me, but the Vyasapuja means that, from my perspective, means that I have to worship Srila Prabhupada. And we all have to worship Srila Prabhupada. So, from my perspective, you're all kindly coming here to remind me that I have to worship Ved-Vyas through the personage of Srila Prabhupada. And we can all be well reminded of this. Of course, we should remember, glorify, and act solely for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada at every moment of every day. But nevertheless, there are certain days set aside for remembering specific personalities, specific pastimes. We have Vamana Dwadashi, Varaha Dwadashi, Gaura Purnima, Nrsimha Chaturdashi, Rama Navami. On these festival days we remember particular forms of the Supreme Lord. There are other festivals like Janmashtami, Govardhan Puja, Vijayadashami, in which we remember specific pastimes. So similarly, there is this one day is set aside to concentrate our remembrance and our gratefulness on Srila Prabhupada. So I can thank you all for your contributions in Srila Prabhupada's service. Last night, the drama of the appearance of Lord Jagannath, we have to congratulate the actors and everyone else involved. I was planning to speak on the appearance of Lord Jagannath, but he appeared before I had the chance to do so. So he already appeared in the drama. Of course, he appears every day. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pattagami Bhavatume. We thank all the devotees for coming here. And we particularly thank the devotees for their ongoing service in Srila Prabhupada's mission. Especially Srila Prabhupada always emphasized the distribution of his books as the best method to preach Krishna consciousness. So many of you in December were working very hard to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And in some devotees here have been exceptional in that regard. In Salem, 22,000 Mahabig books, means mostly Bhagavad Gitas. Means in Salem and around Salem, and devotees from Salem going out. In Surat, I don't know about all of the devotees, but those who are working with Radhesh Prabhu and Aravindaksh Prabhu, they distributed. That's a group of Grihastha devotees. So, they have other things to do also. Of course, in Salem, a lot of the devotees were Grihasthas. They just, for 1 month, whatever other duties they may have had to do, they toned them down and they were just out and about. So in Surat, also 17,000, which is a relatively small group, 17,000 Mahabig books. That was with subsidy? No, full price. So congratulations to all of you. Sankirtan Prabhu in the well-known city of Brno. You've all heard of Brno, I presume. Well, no one ever heard of Salem till you went there either. I'd never heard of it myself. How many books did your group distribute? 3,000. 3,000 Mahabig books. So you may think, what's this? 22,000 in Salem, 17,000 in Surat and 3,000 in Brno. Well, I challenge any of you to go there to check and see if you can do one big book, because it's not so easy actually. It's a completely different thing. I mean, in India, people are already pious to some extent, although it's decreasing all the time. But in Czech Republic, people have no inclination to take Bhagavad Gita. If you put Bhagavad Gita in the bookshop, you put 100 Bhagavad Gitas in the bookshop in Brno, and you come back a year later, there'll probably be 99 left. People it's not something they have any, they've not even heard of Bhagavad Gita, most of the people. So congratulations to all of you. Of course, that's not the only service. There are many services to do. In Srila Prabhupada's mission, Srila Prabhupada has kindly kept us all very busy in his service. He also said that 50% of his mission is still to be fulfilled in establishing Varnashram. So some of you are very busily engaged in that also. It's in many ways more, although we're talking of Varnashram, simple living and high thinking, but to establish simple living seems like a very complex thing. Just to, maybe because our minds are so complex, you have to just unwind them and chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But even to do that, to get some land and to convince people to go and live there, and then all these different laws that exist, and money. It is complex, but ultimately book distribution and various forms of preaching, Varnashram, all these, Gurukul, of course, Gurukul is intimately related with Varnashram, preparing Vaishnavas to carry forward in the future. Now we're looking at the little boys and thinking how we can bring them up, how we can guide them in Krishna consciousness, but the child is the father of man, as the saying goes. Who's the child now will be the father later. Who's the disciple now will be the guru later. So we're praying and attempting to train the children in such a way that what we're attempting with them now on a small scale, they will be able to, as they become older, they will be able to guide others and become spiritual leaders for many hundreds and thousands of such projects. So yeah, this is, you've all come here to, I suppose it's meant to glorify me, as I may shamelessly say. But it's difficult for me also. It's easy to talk about the great acharyas, but Srila Prabhupada, he wanted us to be like that. We know that Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples to be gurus, and he often spoke about that, but he much more often spoke about his disciples being pure devotees. The whole question of are the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, are they real gurus or whatever, it wouldn't arise if, well, it still might arise because it's an age of quarrel and contention. But we've heard the phrase of self-effulgent acharya. If the devotees are pure devotees as Srila Prabhupada wanted, then there would be, it would be much easier to accept that Srila Prabhupada's disciples should be gurus. Of course, it's not that everyone is expected to be on the level of Srila Prabhupada, but he expected, he would sometimes push his disciples, why are you not pure devotee? Why do you sleep so much? Why do you not work more? And devotees would say that, well, Prabhupada, you can do it, but we can't do it. And Prabhupada said, why can't you do it? Everyone's expected to be a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada was pushing everyone like that. As he said that, my spiritual master is pushing me, I am pushing you, and you are pushing, you should push others. Just like the train. How does the train, well, if the engine's at the back, then it pushes one carriage and that pushes the next carriage and that pushes the next carriage, and in this way it goes toward the destination. So Srila Prabhupada was pushing and pulling. Pushing everyone to be Krishna conscious and pulling them up also. And as we heard in this quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the only reason that we're not becoming pure devotees is because of our own resistance, our own lack of desire. That is due to wrong desires since time immemorial. But those desires are to be purified by the process of devotional service. But it requires pushing and pulling also. That is also required. It's not mechanical in the sense that you can just think, I'll chant so many rounds and I'll do this and I'll do that, and then automatically I'll be a pure devotee. Someone wrote to me recently and said, what do I have to do to guarantee that I go back to Godhead? It's not a mechanical process. There are rules and regulations to follow. There are formulae to follow. There are things that we should do, things that we should not do. But ultimately, it all depends on Krishna's mercy on us, which, as we have also just heard from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that is his causeless mercy. So we are not causing Krishna's mercy by chanting Hare Krishna or any of these things, but we are simply inviting his mercy, praying for his mercy. So in this festival and with so many activities going on, I sometimes think that we see sadhus, they live a very simple life. They simply live in one place and chant Hare Krishna. They have nothing, almost literally. Many sadhus, they almost literally have nothing. Just a little cloth, maybe a blanket, a begging bowl, and nothing more. So they have no anxiety. Simple, happy life, chanting Hare Krishna. This is what we want to establish in the Varnashram communities, that people can live simply and happily. If we don't want many things, if we don't desire, I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that, then we become free from anxiety. Simply living on the lap of Krishna, chanting his names. But for those who have accepted the responsibility of preaching Krishna consciousness in the modern world, we can't have such a simple, carefree life. We can work hard all our lives to attempt to develop a situation in which others can live simply and happily in Krishna consciousness. But for us to work toward that, it is not easy. And to deal with means to preach to try to encourage people to come up in Krishna consciousness. We find that the words of Shastra are indeed true, in that in Kali Yuga people's minds are very disturbed. That is just like the defining quality of a Brahmana is his propensity to teach. So similarly, the defining quality or bad quality of people in Kali Yuga, hi upadruta, the mind is very disturbed. So it can be very difficult, it is very difficult to interact with so many people. We may desire to be a simple sadhu and just chant Hare Krishna and live simply and peacefully. That may not be possible for all of us. Of course, some devotees have to go live on the land and live simply and peacefully. And that should be that inner peace has to be there. Otherwise we can't begin to serve Krishna. Yes. Ashantasya kutas sukham. There's no question of spiritual happiness unless we're internally peaceful. But our path, or those who are going to preach Krishna consciousness in this world, it must be Kantaka Koti Ruddha, Shri Bhakti Marga Iha Kantaka Koti Ruddha. In Kali Yuga, the path of devotional service is beset with innumerable thorns. So we have to accept that in Krishna's service. That is our mandate from Srila Prabhupada, which he inherited from his guru, that we have to preach Krishna consciousness. We may ourselves need much preaching too. Preaching that is for the perfect devotees. Brajabashigan pracharake dhan. Those who are those who are actually pure devotees, they are fit to preach Krishna consciousness, but on the order that Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji gave to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which he gave to all his disciples and which Srila Prabhupada gave to us. We have to preach Krishna consciousness as best we can. What can we do? Shakti buddhihin, amayati din. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays. We're fallen, we have no proper intelligence, we have no ability, but jogata bichare kichu nahi pai tomara karunasha. Although we're unqualified, we simply pray for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas, for their mercy, that we may, in whatever capacity we can, execute their mission. And we see that some of you are being empowered for so many services in Srila Prabhupada's mission. For myself, I'm in the position of Guru, which is the same position as that of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Srila Bhakti Saraswati. It's a grave responsibility. But actually, all of us are in the same position as Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarka Swami, and all the Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda. We're all in that category, in the sense that we're all disciples. Guru is primarily a disciple, not primarily a guru. From our vision, Guru is definitely a guru, but from his own vision, he is not primarily a guru, he is only a disciple. His role as guru is as a service only. And we can learn, what do we have to learn from the guru? We have to learn how to be a disciple, what it means to be a disciple. So we learn that also from seeing how the guru is a perfect disciple. We see Srila Prabhupada in what appears to be a physical old age. He took up the order of his guru to preach in the Western world, and there was nothing at all about what he did that was easy. There was nothing about what Srila Prabhupada did in preaching the West that was not very difficult. Shivaram Swami, some years ago, related an anecdote that they had employed one of the top lawyers in England to fight a major case for the devotees. So this lawyer was almost 70 years old. He knew almost nothing about the Hare Krishna movement. So the devotees gave him the abridged biography of Srila Prabhupada to read, which he read. Lawyers, they're accustomed to read. So he read it quite quickly, and then the next time he saw Shivaram Swami, he said that he was very impressed by what Srila Prabhupada did going to the West, and you don't understand how difficult it was. This is a man who never heard Prabhupada's name until 2 days ago, and he's telling Shivaram Swami, who's one of Prabhupada's principal disciples, you don't know how difficult it was for him to go to the West and preach, because at that time Shivaram Swami must have been about 40 years old, because you don't know what it's like to be 70 years old. Whereas this lawyer was 70 years old, so he knew that how difficult things that you take as normal. Recently, I saw one young devotee just, without thinking about it, just run up the stairs. And I thought, yeah, I used to do that too. Not now. And I've still got quite some way to go to 70, if I reach that age at all. So there are so many considerations. How difficult, I mean, that was even physically, heart attacks, and dealing with these completely mad people. It's very uncultured, but Srila Prabhupada saw a spark of interest in Krishna consciousness. Nowadays, if we had to deal with such people, we just wouldn't bother. We'd say, let's go and find someone better. If people are just so crazy and uncultured, we just, okay, give them some prasad. Let's find someone better. But Srila Prabhupada didn't find anyone better. They were the best. From his writings, it appears that Srila Prabhupada expected that the more educated, cultured, using that word within the Western context. We can also say that Srila Prabhupada often used to speak of gentlemen when he met some person who's educated and considerate in his behavior. So Srila Prabhupada expected the intelligentsia and the intellectuals, the cultured people to take to Krishna consciousness. But when Srila Prabhupada first went to the West, they didn't. And frankly, up to the present day, still, hardly they're coming. We're still getting all the, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but we're still getting people who are estranged from the respectable mainstream. They're the people who are taking to Krishna consciousness. So the point I'm coming to here is that Srila Prabhupada, despite all difficulty, and we may not know how, we may not be able to imagine what difficulty he took in executing the order of his spiritual master. Because we can look back on it now, it looks as if it was inevitable. Because Srila Prabhupada himself didn't complain, he didn't become discouraged. Therefore, it might not seem that it was, or because we think, well, Srila Prabhupada was a pure devotee, so it was just some game for him. But struggle was there, undoubtedly. And complete surrender was there. He didn't have to do it. There's one, you can hear that Srila Prabhupada in 1966 talking to some group of people who are listening. Few people come to listen to his lecture, and the one woman is in America taking notes in New York City. She's very studiously taking notes, and she's trying to get all the points. And Srila Prabhupada has mentioned Vrindavan. And she herself, who is that woman? We don't even know now. But she said that actually, you're not happy here, are you? You like to be in Vrindavan. He said, yes, I'd like to be in Vrindavan. What am I doing here? Is the order of my spiritual master, is my duty. And he just said it, just like he said everything. He's just speaking the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, that we are all spirit soul, we have to surrender Krishna. So Prabhupada said, yes, I'm here because it's my duty, my spiritual master ordered me. He just took it, matter of fact. There's no question of not executing the order of his guru, even though, as he said, I'm very happy in Vrindavan. I have no problem there. Everything is very nice. He said, I have no problem there in Vrindavan. Which just suggests how much problem he had in America. Everything troublesome, everything difficult for him. Vrindavan is just, the whole place is just set up perfectly for being Krishna conscious. And the whole of America is just set up perfectly how to forget Krishna completely, forever. So for Srila Prabhupada, although you think America is very convenient, but for Srila Prabhupada it's very inconvenient. But he took that up as his duty to serve his spiritual master. And he expected his disciples to practice Krishna consciousness. If you take initiation, then at least you may say, well, I don't feel any taste, or I have this problem or that problem, but there's a duty. Once we have vowed to follow four regulative principles, to dedicate our life to Krishna, you can't go back on that. So in this way we learn how to be a disciple. Srila Prabhupada was perfect guru because he is a perfect disciple. What does it take to be a guru? One should be a perfect disciple. Perfect disciple doesn't only mean to follow everything very nicely. That's the beginning. That is the beginning. As we often hear devotees talking about, so and so has good sadhana. If we say someone has good sadhana, what we generally mean is they follow the minimum standard given by Srila Prabhupada. But good sadhana should be the minimum and more, and it's almost expected that devotees don't follow the minimum that they're expected to follow. Therefore we say good sadhana if someone follows the minimum. So to follow everything that we're expected, that we're told to, that we accept to do as a disciple, then you're called a good disciple. But that's just disciple. That's not good disciple. Disciple means one should follow at least minimally what is expected of one, and then on top of that one should strive to serve the mission of the spiritual master. So to follow all the formulae, that is the minimum expected of a disciple. To chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulated principles, rise early, attend Mangalarti, take only Krishna Prasad. That's the minimum. That doesn't make one a good disciple, that's just a disciple. So we learn from Srila Prabhupada's example what it means to be a good disciple, what it means to be a guru. And for me, it's inspiring for all of us, I hope, to hear about Srila Prabhupada, to meditate upon Srila Prabhupada. But then, when I have to think of myself, I'm in the position of guru in instructing all of you, initiating these 2 main functions by which one is known as a guru, to give diksha and to give shiksha. So I'm attempting to do that, and I have to instruct you to give up sense gratification, to fully surrender to Krishna, while at the same time myself still working on all these things. It's a different situation to that of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all these great devotees. So it is a dilemma or a dichotomy for myself that I have to encourage, I have to instruct you and take the role of a guru. I just read recently that description from Shastra of Lakshmi Devi describing the symptoms of uncultured people she doesn't like to live with. One of the symptoms was, 2 of the symptoms was one, that the disciples don't care to follow their gurus. And another one is that the gurus treat their disciples as friends. So the guru is to take the role of a guru, one has to take the role of a superior in the form of instructing others. It's not that the guru is supposed to be unfriendly, but for the benefit of the disciple and to execute his duty as he's told by his guru, he has to take a superior position. Otherwise, it's something like a parent not instructing the child, and that is increasingly common in the Western world. In what year was that? Must have been 1979 or thereabout. In Sweden, the great bastion of adharma, they think they've got it all worked out, how to be perfect human beings, perfectly civilized. But from the dharmic perspective, it's most adharmic. They think that they're just perfect. We're equal to everyone. They're equality to everyone. I saw this because I was engaged in raising funds for purchasing vehicles for preaching in Bangladesh. So one incident among the maybe thousands of people I met while selling some records. Many of you may not even know what records are, but how to describe. Prior to CD players, there was some means of selling, of reproducing sound. So there was a woman, young woman, walking with her child who was about 5 or 6 years old. I offered the record to the woman, and her immediate response, she turned to her child and said, "Shall we buy it?" She's asking her child. I was just struck, what is this? She's not only treating the child as an equal, she's treating the child as a superior, probably because she didn't have a husband, and it's the nature of women to need to be directed, but she took shelter of her child. So for the guru to treat the disciple as an equal, that is a sign of adharma. So it's a duty for me to take a superior role. Most of you here are born in India, where the culture up to the present day has some idea, it's still there, some concept of relationships between guru and disciples. Nowadays this concept is mostly transmitted via TV serials, which show, often in a highly speculative way, various pastimes from Shastra, and there are modern gurus who are like a semi-spiritual version of rock stars, but still the concept of guru and disciple is there. And this Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was quoting Sarvasvam Guruve Dadyat. Actually, the guru of the demons, Shukracharya, we'll find that in Bhagavatam. He said that to Bali Maharaj, Sarvasvam Vishnave Dadyat. That what is the next line? Murkam Vartishyate Katam. He said, "You fool, if you give everything to Vishnu, how will you live?" He wasn't a very good guru. Shukra is the kind of guru who should be rejected, because he forbade his disciple to give everything to Vishnu. But in this world, the disciple does so via the guru. One is supposed to surrender one's life in the service of the guru, seeing that the guru is surrendered in the service of his guru, and it's all going to Krishna. So that's the dichotomy for me. I have to be honest. I think it's not difficult to understand anyway, that what I know, what I've learned from Srila Prabhupada, what I experience, that is by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that is my life now. Whatever course my life was going on previously is completely changed by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and I have nothing else to do in this life but to serve Srila Prabhupada. And not only this life, Chakudano Diloje Janme Janme Prabhushe, in every life. And on his order I have to try to guide you also. My inability to do so, that is there, but because there's his order, then everything can be perfect by his order and his mercy. So, if by accepting his order I'm to teach and to initiate that his mission can be served, then certainly it should be done. And we're seeing that many of you are serving his mission so well by distributing his books, working hard in his mission, establishing Varnashram projects, Gurukuls, chanting Hare Krishna. There's so many things to be done in his service, dedicating your life in his service. So, despite my inabilities, if I simply attempt to convey to you whatever I have understood and received from Srila Prabhupada, and I would be ungrateful if I were to say that I have not received anything. It's everything. Everything I've received from Srila Prabhupada. My ability to accept it, that is my misfortune. But I know that he has given us everything. And that is my duty to try to convey that to you. And it is my prayer that my own inability, my own anarthas not be prominent, but that his mercy be prominent, so that you can all avail of his mercy and dedicate yourself more and more in his mission and go back to Godhead and take many others with you. So that is my prayer on this day and every day. Hare Krishna. Yeah, 9:30. We're supposed to stop here at 9:30. I can continue for half an hour. All right. Yeah, talking about my own inabilities, drawbacks. But then Srila Prabhupada said that, again going back to 1966, before Srila Prabhupada made any disciples in America, he stated that one has to be very careful, one has to accept a perfect person as a guru. If one accepts a perfect person, he can take perfect guidance and advance on the path of perfection. But if one does not accept a person who is perfect, then one will be misguided. So Srila Prabhupada said that one has to be very careful to accept a perfect person as a guru. So, what am I doing saying that? Knowing full well my imperfections. Well, here in Srila Prabhupada's words, I can say how I am perfect. What is my perfection by which I have the the boldness to take this exalted role. Here's a quotation from a lecture of Srila Prabhupada given in Hyderabad in 1972. Srila Prabhupada said, "So we should follow." 4 words. So much meaning is there. We should follow. Our whole life can be completely perfect. Actually, if we take these 3 words, we should follow, or even just 1 word, follow. But of course we have to know who to follow, why to follow, how to follow. But this is the 1 word which can make our life perfect, if we can understand the import of it. The word follow, anugatya. In Gauriya Vaishnav terminology, this word is very important. Anugatya means going behind, or going in sequence, or simply following. Srila Prabhupada said, so we should follow. This is called parampara system. As Arjuna understood Bhagavad Gita, if we understand in that way, then we are perfect. I may be imperfect, but because I understand Bhagavad Gita as it was understood by Arjuna, I am perfect. How you can be imperfect and perfect at the same time? This is not for logicians. If someone is perfect, means in all respects. If there's a slight deviation from the standard of perfection, then it's not perfection. Because perfection means in all respects complete, without any blemish. If there's even some slight thing wrong, then it's not perfect. Because perfect means completely, wholly, full and without any blemish. But Srila Prabhupada says here that even if I am imperfect, I can be perfect. How is that? By understanding Bhagavad Gita as it was understood by Arjuna. Because, Srila Prabhupada says, because the knowledge I am distributing, that is not imperfect. Just like a poor peon. A post peon. A post peon is delivering you $1,000. So he may be a poor man, but the $1,000 he is delivering, that is a fact. That is not a bogus thing. Because he has not manufactured something, he has received that money order from the post office. He's asked to deliver to such and such a person. His honesty is to deliver the money order as it is to the bona fide person. That is his perfection. It's a simple point to understand. That the post peon is not expected to be a perfect person. It's not expected, anyway, no human being can be perfect. If we're talking about the material sphere, someone can be spiritually perfect. There's no such thing as perfection in material life anyway. So the post peon, he may have so many personality defects. He may be short-tempered. He may be an alcoholic. He may have so many personality defects, but in his job of delivering as a peon, he has to deliver one thing from one place to another. He has to deliver $1,000, he delivers it. He's honest and he's competent. So he does his job perfectly. And who deputes the person, the post peon, from the person who employs the post peon, from the employer's perspective, it doesn't matter whether that man is a alcoholic, short-tempered, well, he shouldn't get short-tempered with the customers or be drunk on the job. But if he does that job, okay, you take $1,000, he's trusted, take it, deliver it. He does it daily, responsibly, competently. So as a post peon, he is perfect. This is the point being made. He has received that money from the post office. He's asked to deliver it to such and such person. His honesty is to deliver the money order as it is to the bona fide person. That is his perfection. Because he's delivering $1,000, he doesn't require to become a very rich man. He may be a poor man. Similarly, a guru is perfect when he delivers the words of the superior authority as it is. Then he's perfect. He may be imperfect in your estimation, but that is his perfection. That he is not misleading people by becoming a so-called rascal scholar and interpreting it in a different way and misleading the whole population. That is perfection. People say so much about me, Srila Prabhupada says, that I have done some wonderful thing. This is Srila Prabhupada speaking in Hyderabad in 1972, when great crowds of people are coming to see him, being astonished by his having gone to the West and preached Krishna consciousness. If you want, you can catch Basu Ghosh Prabhu and ask him more about this, because he was present in all these lectures and he was helping to organize it and everything. He was a young man at that time. So, Srila Prabhupada continues. People say so much about me that I have done some wonderful thing. But I say that I am not a magician. I'm not a magician. My only credit is that I am presenting Krishna as he is. That's all. I'm not diluting Krishna. If we hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures in 1966 to American people who we couldn't even say they're new in Krishna consciousness, they really have very little idea about Krishna consciousness. And gradually, some of them picked it up. But their knowledge of Krishna consciousness was zero. And if we hear his lectures later, 1972, 1976, it's the same message. Same thing. And we can understand that before he came to America, he was also speaking the same thing. So it wasn't that Srila Prabhupada in 1966, he was some, from an external point of view, you might think it's some pathetic figure, just trying to teach something which no one's interested in, and what's he doing? It's just ridiculous. That's a disciple of one of his godbrothers wrote, Srila Prabhupada was trying to say, come and join me, help me here. And he wrote back, and in this brahmachari at the time, he wrote in one of his reply letters, he used the word ridiculous. Because he thought, you're out there in America, you're just alone, you can't do anything. That he must have been thinking this. And Srila Prabhupada wrote back very strongly, you might think it's ridiculous.